Why is it Mongol versus Chinese on Dry Arabia? What? Nani? Alright, whatever. Buckle yourself in, folks. Choo-choo, room for a good one here. Evgen is playing as the Orange Mongols, 156 in the world. Respectable at this point. Meanwhile, this man here. Free spear equal 1 knight. 1 archer equal free spear. Wow. That math sucks. Free spear equal 1 knight is true. 1 archer equal free spear. Good math. But no, I'm going to play on his punctuation here, guys. What he just said is that free spears, which cost 240, equals to 320. Yeah, you forgot your comma or your line. Okay, Salami, can we? I'm sorry, bro, but you ruined it. No punctuation. Okay, I'm gonna stop. No, he's right though. This is 100% right. I see no issue with the balance, guys. Just look, if you're that worried about archers, build a Mag and Schnell, because they make all the archers die fast. Anyway, yes, for those just asking out, this is Salami. Free spear equal 1 knight, 1 archer equal free spears is Salami in the purple, playing as the Chinese. And he's 86th, I believe I said, in the world right now. Meanwhile, his opponent, wait, it was 89th. Yeah, 86th, and then Evgen is, I believe, 156th. So a slight bit of disparity here, but I've been promised quite the entertaining game. The sad part is, like, when people from different fan bases tell you it's an entertaining game, you can kind of gauge. Like, I think the Salami ones is usually like there's going to be an epic wall or it'll be kind of fun back and forth. When people recommend me a really good beastie game, I feel like they're trying to give me one that's molding. Sometimes there's a cool clutch recovery, but usually they're looking for the molding. But I have high hopes. Like, when I get Salami games, especially when they're not given to me by Salami, by the way, they are quite good. That's not to say the ones Salami gives me aren't good. It's just they always have a catch. Like, I done a really amazing Wololo. Starts thumping penis on table, right? Like, it's very much kind of... I've never had Salami send me a game where he got his ass kicked in a phenomenal way. Just a little hint there, Salami. Maybe send one of them as a cross every once in a while. It's okay. You don't have to be a god. Sometimes you can be a dog. Oh, this dog right here. I hate this guy. Luckily, the Khan has been nerfed time and time again. Guys, I feel like the Khan hasn't been nerfed enough, though. 2 damage is quite high, right? I don't like the maths on this. I think 1 damage is more. No, okay, I'm going to stop being mean. I can already hear Mongol players crying. Speaking of this Mongol player, we'll be crying about the spawn. Opening not too bad. Uvi really close with the lines, so he'll be able to get into pastures. Gold is a little bit far out, but he has secondary gold nearby. This is actually a decent spawn. The wood is a little bit stretched, though. I think there's a lot of open ground that you can be exposed on. The good news is you're up against the Chinese, and they would never aggress you early on. I mean, what's a Chinese player going to do to aggress a player early on? Build? Ah, crap. That's exactly what they'll do. Not in this game, though. Oh, no. Imperial Academy is going to be the choice. You can already see Salami is playing pat cake for himself. Hasn't moved a single villager. We will not see a Barbican rush. It'll just be a very cozy Imperial Academy. By the way, the reason why you don't Barbican rush a Mongol player, would anyone like to guess the reason? I think we all know, right? It's not because they're very good at defending. It's because they live in caravans. They just pack up and move. Like, oh, well, this is a wonderful place to stay, but it seems we're being persecuted in this area. Let's go west. Just doesn't move. It just doesn't work. They just move. In fact, the best thing I've ever seen when someone tried to outpost rush, I believe it was a puppy paw game against, I think it was GUA, because he's playing Kitten Claw. I'll never forget it, because it's still my favorite Mongol mirror, is that puppy paw went in for an outpost rush, and the other Mongol player packed up his TC, and he didn't move away. Oh no, he moved towards him. The most alpha play available to him. Very risky play, by the way. I wouldn't advise it. But if you want extra points for style, definitely do it when you see someone trying to Barbican rush you as the Mongols. So tech up is going to be complete first by the Chinese. It was the Imperial Academy drop, and location... hold up. Salami. Mr. Sausage Man, what is this Imperial Academy? What? Why do people keep doing this? Oh, this is the second time today I mean, mentioned Poppy Port. We watched Poppy Port earlier on do it. And we watched it again. This one isn't as close, so maybe it was intentional. But like, I'm seeing a lot of people not build the Imperial Academy in a way that's optimizing for like gold and the food, or food and the wood. Am I missing something? Is there a new trend I missed? I guess the upside is this actually engulfs your whole wood line, so you'll get taxed the entire time. But by the time you're on this wood line, it's going to be so late in the game, the tax is kind of a shrug. Whereas right now, it can be more valuable. The only other thought process I have here is he wanted to have room for farms next to his TC. I think that's what it possibly is that he's worried he's going to get shut down early on or boxed in. So he wants condensed space next to the TC where he can drop farmlands. Does mean you're missing out on a lot of tax, though. I would say, to me, I say you always prioritize the food, right? Because you have sheep plus berries. That should beat out most other things. So, like, you go food plus whatever is in range. So, in this case, it definitely would have been lumber. But kind of a weird situation here that Salami didn't want it. And, oh, baby, hello, what? What? Okay, so we've got a Borbican play on one side, and we've got Mangudai on the... What is this game? What have I been signed up for? Chat, thank you. Thank you very much. Blessed be. We're 7 minutes in, and I'm already happy. So we got the Borbican play. 8 villagers are ready to start harvesting when Salami gets back from his toilet break. And Mangudai on the other side. But why Mangudai? What is Evgen's plan with this? Because outposts are going to be built up. You're going to get pummeled in the face quickly. This is a glass cannon unit that's going to be diving Chinese static defenses. I don't like this. The Mangudai would have been good if they spotted him going for the ball. I think actually Evgen didn't expect the ball play. I think Evgen expected a deer play. And he wanted to block that out. But now the outpost in place is going to be very difficult to do anything. Especially hand cannon slits like to come through soon. Does need to get on the stone to do so, though. Maybe that's the refreshing detail, actually, that makes it work well for Evgen, is he noticed there was no mining camp on the stone outcropping, which means there's no stone for hand cannon slits. So you can actually still be a pain in the ass. Especially with that Falcon. Love that detail, although getting a little bit too close to the TC. This is the weakness of the Mangudai, right? The range. It's 3.5 tower range. I don't see Mangudai value yet, guys. I just see 2 dead horses that did not need to be dead. I mean, you're trying to dive static defenses with a 3.5 tower range unit that only does 7 damage at this stage in small quantities. This is why people rarely do Mangudai at this stage. And what? Nope. All right, that's the that's it. You know why they call them Mangudai? It's because someone always dies when they're pulled out. The problem is right now, like, if you actually just read them correctly and separate it in the correct areas, when I build a Mangudai, all my screen says to me is you die. As in me die. As in I who built the Mangudai die. Because they can't do anything this early on. Even more so when the Khan goes down. As soon as you lose your Khan, you lose all negotiation power with me on Mangudai being good early game. Mangudai can be good situationally against heavy cavalry comps early on. So if you see like a French player spam Mangudai, because you can just kite his knights and kill them. You're up against static defenses. You're always going to be up against static defenses of the Chinese. And now you're countered. Archery range just does you in. Also, keep in mind, he can go for Chiganu. Chiganu Gatling gun you down as well. You're a 0 armor unit. And the reason why Mangudai suck so badly is because they cost too much at this stage outside of situational strategies. You're paying 160 resources for a unit that barely has half that in terms of HP points. Now, don't get me wrong. If you catch, like, 10 villagers out in nowhere, they're dead. They're just dead straight away. How often do you catch 10 villagers out nowhere doing something unprotected? Right? Maybe the French. But even French players, like, they understand if they're up against a Mongol and they see the archery range, which good players will scout for this, by the way. The moment they see the archery range, they're like, I'm going to build an outpost. I think that's the tough part. Like, Mangudai is very hard to hide as a strategy Because if your opponent sees that you've gone archery ranges, either choice, whether it's archer or Mangudai, like the counter is the same. I will build an outpost. You cannot do anything. Or I will build horsemen. You can't do anything. That's, again, why the Khan's so important. Like, I think Mangudai had a pocket value outside of, like, these super situational matchups such as French Knights when Yam lingered. Ever since Yam was an instant removal when you get out of range, Mangudai's value has plummeted. They're good in Castle and Beyond, don't get me wrong, but as a feudal unit, nah. It's actually weird to think that once upon a time, we all cried about how broken Mangudai were at the start of the game. Oh, how the tides have turned. And that's why I prefer this. With the tech up finally coming through, we're now into Man-at-Arms territory. Now, of course, Salami is going to take his time because he went multi-TC plus the Song Dynasty, but he's boosted up in the eco numbers, 50 to 38 right now, and relying on static defenses. Walls going up, as well as the hand cannon slits being researched everywhere. Wants to protect that goal because that's all he needs. Once he gets that, he will have his tech up, but for now, he's going to be somewhat exposed. Evgen now, I don't know if it's Evgen or Evgen. I'm just going to call him Gen at this point. Evgen now moving in with a Ram. Ram could do some serious damage here. Remember, these hand cannon slits only do 25 damage, so it's 1 damage per shot against a Ram. The Chugenu, however, are effective. Chugenu can only have their damage reduced to 1, so they do 3 times the damage of your TC to a battering ram. And remember that rams have less health in this new meta, in this new patch. It's why I've been trying to play with people, build Chugenu. Like, against early ram rushes, they're actually surprisingly effective as the backbone of your range comp. And then you complement it with a few horsemen. It's really effective. First ram in, looking onto the village. He may want to build another one, and he's already on it at the backside, so it will not be pop cap locked. Rams, 2 of them now starting to hammer into this. Plenty of lumber camps you can burn down for additional value. Diving towards those outposts, tech up, now ready to go. Salami trying to hide it deeper behind his base. Remember, he stopped building military units to be able to get the goal together. That's why his army looks so weak right now. The dive comes in. Evgen is in deep here. His hand cannon slits are going to sting him a little here, though. Villagers are going to be pulled back. Salami has reserves. 1,400 food in the bank, so he's going to drain himself dry in that department anytime soon. He's going to double down onto the wood and probably building up into the clock tower. Rams are running rampant through the base, though, and now the Mangonel switch coming in. Love this switch up by Evgen. He is up against archers right now, and he only sees an archery range, so it is a logical solution. Just need to be careful where he poshes it. Remember that Mangonels only have 140 health. They will take 5 damage per shot from these TCs. It does actually add up. Right now, fire is drawn to the Rams. Villagers coming across to repair. Mangonel. Dodges death. Salami. Nice maneuverability there. Now pulls out with a Ram. Dodge again. Beautifully done. Taking minimum damage, but when he does come out, the damage is going to add up fast with the man-at-arms, with the crossbows. Rams once again in. Mangonel needs to not be firing, because when it reloads, you can jump out and torch again. Evgen, can he do this? Stables now being built up in the back of the base of the Chinese. Salami, it's the way he can stabilize here. He's up against a few crossbows, but a few is it. They are underneath double TC. You can see the focus fire coming in on them. That's the recovery point for him. Salami's going to wait for probably 4 lances, then right in. His primary TC is going to fall, but he still has the scalability, remember. It's 64 eco to 48. Behind this, Evgen has not looked for any exploitable value. He's been full push into the base. He hasn't gone for a temple. He hasn't picked up those relics yet. He hasn't gone for a second TC. He is saving up for it, though. And I like that he's at least thinking about one of these things, because this is not going to end the game. This raid-in will not finish off Salami. It will cripple him, though, and you need to look for the double up. You can't just hit his economical scaling. You need to access your own. 5 Lancers should do enough work here. Nice use of the Springald. Even repairs coming out to make sure it doesn't go down. The Rams are still alive for the time being, but most of the Vanguard force has been pushed away. A new Mangonel being invested in by Evgen. This is what I don't like. I think this is too much. You need to look towards your own scalability still. Especially now that there's a Springald here to counter you out, and you have limited resources to build into anti-siege. especially when you have to rebuild your front line. Lance is making quick work of those Rams now. Rebuild coming in on the primary TC. A lofty investment of wood to get it back up, but he needs it. Mangonel shot coming out. Heavy hit. Brings them all low. Doesn't quite finish them off. Spring in the meantime trying to finish off the Mangonel. Will get through it. A pullback just in time. That clock tower Spring was the MVP. Staying alive through this all. The man-at-arms just not having the damage to kill him off. Spino killed off. A few villagers are at least going to go down, but it's negligible damage here. You can see the eco situation. You know, he has shrunk Salami, but remember, as soon as that TC goes back up, reboot very quickly. It's why Evgen still needs to find his own economical one-up. And now the anti-siege. This is getting a bit tight, a little bit dodgy right now. Food is a limiting factor. That is actually the upside for Evgen, is that you can see Salami had to shift all the way south under berries. If this gets spotted, you could actually shut Salami out of this game. But if you go directly into the base again, I do think that Salami can recover this. TC Garrison. Khan needs to be respectful of the damage that comes out. Even with 300 health, you can see how he can be whittled away at. But you notice how slow the build is. Like, this is the crippling detail about losing your primary TC. Like, yeah, you can rebuild it. But the amount of resources you have to use, the amount of idle time you have to rebuild that 7,000 HP structure, you notice it. You definitely notice it. You can see in the income department how he's suffering now. I want to give him really big credit for this, by the way. This Barbican play saved his game. If he didn't have this sort of safe economy away from his base, this game is probably already over in favor of Evgen. This time, Evgen with a siege that should be able to combat. A ram that's been pushed in this early does feel like a waste, though. Springles are moving out. It's up against a clock tower Springles, so they can't even insta-snipe. Repairs are going to start coming through. Looks like he is going to lose the Springle, though. Trade 1 for 1. Second one is at least being built by Salami. Mangonel shot coming in, but he prioritized the TC instead. It's rebuilt. That's double TC fire. That is going to push Evgen back. And Evgen behind this, still no scaling. And it means that now Salami can recover this loss. He can extend into the lead again in the villager department. This is my concern. I said Evgen, like, you needed to find a way of attacking the eco lines. You need to find a way of sniffing out these eco expansions, but he's hard locked now. Remember what he's built here. Crossbows, man-at-arms. These are slow-moving units. He hasn't built outposts forward, so he doesn't have Yam either. He lacks maneuverability to go chasing these bases outside the base. And it means these pocket economies keep Salami alive long enough that they will get him back into this game. This time, Evgen says, fine, I'll go for the perma damage economically. This time, I'll go after the secondary TC. Seeing as this game is going to take a little while longer. And maybe this is what he should have done in the first place. I mean, Evgen going after the primary TC seems like a good idea, but like, how you ever landmark sniping this into a victory? He'll now turn to the primary TC. If he'd done it this way around, the hit to the eco count would have probably put Salami down permanently. But now he has a path to recovery. However, this is escalating. You can see there's going to have to be a reaction soon out of Salami. Spring will trade out. Still favorable for Evgen here because he has a 1 Spring advantage. Rams doing some serious work here. TC below half HP, soon to fall. Pocket ecos are drying up as well. The berries will not last much longer. Salami needs to mount a defense. He needs to go soon. Problem is, he only has a handful of lances. And although there are no spears, there are plenty of crossbows. TC on fire. Salami, how does he wiggle his way out of this one? Well, he snuck to the north side. He actually did make his way up onto the deer. So food is not going to dry up. Remember, he's still in that fat stack gold vein, so food and gold is good. Needs to put it to good use, though. Lancer count now up to 9 and escalating. Nesta Bees coming out. Finally what he needed. That Nesta Bees needs to be careful with the Springles. The Springles can actually have a maximum impact here. Dive comes in. Evgen straight on top of it. Nesta Bees goes down. Final strike is good. Good maneuver there. Man-at-arms now clashing, forcing the fight out of the Lancers. Wrap around in the meantime, committing the villagers in towards the siege. He needs to get rid of the Mangonel and the Springles to stand a chance of holding here. Lancers are cleaning up the man-at-arms. 1 for 1, they're better traders. Second Nesta Bees comes out, and Evgen goes in too deep. He got tunnel visioned onto the landmark this time, and now he will pay the price. Nesta Bees needs the wheel beyond the initial range to get a shot out. Springald is at least going to be taken out. And sure, you'll clean up the Lancers, but now you have nothing to clean up the nest of bees. A few Lancers will look to hold. Staggered formation does come out. FGen, I swear to God, if I look back at this base, it's still no secondary TC and no play to relics. Every stage of this game that I've looked back at FGen's base is a stage where I expected to see an economical gain, and I am yet to see it. And it's tough to look at this point. I mean, realistically, at the end of the day, you haven't killed the economy of Salami. You've hit it hard. I'll give you that. But he's still alive. And now he's somewhat stabilizing. Limited man-at-arms, limited crossbows. Back to the drawing board for FGen. Oh, God. Oh, God. It might be back to the lobby for FGen with this. He hasn't realized. The step readout's still packed up. Okay. I think he's realized now. I think the giveaway was when all of his villagers were singing Hi-Ho and getting all the way through that song before they dropped off their gold. Now it is really off to work they go, because finally he'll get the extra 50%. That gap, though, is going to slow him down. It's going to stunt his ability to build more siege. And you can see it. He's just gone for rams. Man, FGen, like, there's so many layers to Mongols that feel missing here. No outpost usage, no secondary TC, no play for relics. Like, there's a lot of room for kind of improvements. I think that this is the difference. Like, Salami will understand this as well, because he plays against these high-level players frequently. Like, you get to this stage where you're in control, and you're looking for not just a one-up, you want a double-up, right? I'm going to do this. That's going to force two things. Pressure onto you and a gain for me. So far from FGen, I've seen good pressure, but I haven't seen him manipulate that pressure into an economical advantage or a double-up. It's just been tunnel visioned onto these landmarks. And the problem is you are up against the Chinese. Like, tunnel visioning landmarks against the Chinese is difficult. And it can cost you dearly. Especially when this happens. Like, look what's happened at this stage. The siege is built up now. I don't think you can rely on siege anymore. And in fact, if FGen starts building up Springals to counter this, I think it's throwing the game away entirely. Now the keep. I like this play from Salami. He's going to recover his primary TC. Remember that he hasn't been building villages for about 2 minutes now, so he is falling behind. But he's not falling behind as much as he should be. Now Salami, it's his turn to go raiding. This is the other reason I think why FGen didn't want to let up the pressure. When he saw that Lancers were being built, he was paranoid. The moment he would back away, this would happen. And this is going to happen. And he hasn't actually built Springald emplacements either. He'll wrap around the back, and even if he doesn't snipe Eco, he's going to force the attention of FGen to respond. It's Benny Hill's time, and you can't catch. And the sneak around continues. Salami just playing flanks perfectly. Wait. Is he... You sly dog. Salami is going to wrap around right next to FGen's base and take the deer and berry from underneath his very nose. And the best part of this is that FGen's not going to notice. FGen keeps tunnel visioning towards the base. He will never look back here. Why would he look back here? He's playing Mongols. He has pastures. He has infinite food already at his disposal. At his TC. I mean, I got to give it to him. This is a typical Salami move. This is a perfect read. And what did we say? Like, we've been seeing it from FGen once again, just butting his head against the wall. That's exactly what this is. Yeah, you have one more Springald, but these ones on the other side are more tanky. There's still Lancers to contest with. There's still Nest of Bees to contest with. And more Springalds coming out because FGen, like, this move is predictable. Salami already knows. He only needs 2 Nest of Bees. He then just needs anti-siege. I just wonder how different this game would look for FGen if he built a stable and 2 or 3 Lancers. Like, the amount of eco that's exposed. Salami's playing very greedy. Think about what he's done here. Down here, no outpost to defend. Up here, no outpost to defend. Every single pocket eco outside of the initial Barbican one is not protected. This is a missed opportunity. And to be honest, it's one that's really just costing him the game now. TC's back up. Salami will shrink that eco lead that FGen's built up. And he went for secondary TC again, so this is going to be a full reboost. In fact, at this pace, especially now with 3 TCs, by the time FGen's about 85, 86 villages, Salami should be at 100. If he has the food at all times, that is. It is quite the big strain, but he definitely has the food reserves back here. Trade out. Good trade from Evgen. Salami. Uh-oh. Whoops. What are you doing, man? Okay, Salami does not like siege. That's been confirmed. 3 Nesta Bees being protected by 1 Springald. Not ideal. Definitely not ideal. Nice maneuver away, though. Salami brings the troops back from gathering on the south side. Realizes they're exposed. Hard onto the gold now. Evgen once again with these rams. Seems appropriate because he's been ramming his head against the proverbial wall this entire game. Still, Evgen doesn't know. Okay, so I don't want to be too hard on Evgen because like we've highlighted some room for improvement, but like this is a very big one, and it's gonna like maybe it's gonna sound mean. I don't understand how you go 26 minutes in a game, having dove your opponent's base multiple times. I'm sure you haven't seen the very back corner, but you've seen a decent amount of the base, and seeing 0 farms, having still not come to the conclusion that he is clearly pocket ecoing. And you know what would have probably given him the info to guarantee like he understands this? The Khan flanking. A scout being built, like something checking, because this is ridiculous. Like Salami has gotten away with murder here. He should not have been allowed to play pocket ecos freely like this. Yet, this has been the game. This has been the reason for his recovery. He had limited villages, and yet he didn't need to worry about, oh, I need to transition to farms, because he got the rest of the map for free. And this reliance on rams has been terrible out of Evgen. I like this switch up. This is what he needed, traction trebuchets. The horror show is thinking about how many traction trebs he could have had instead. He's thrown away like 4 rams that done nothing. Could have had 2 trebs for that. Now the villager pool, it's peasant rebellion time. It's just a front line. It's meant to box him in because now the Nesta Bees, they can do the business. Springal's trading out. Villagers onto the back line, taking out all the siege. This is problematic right now. Evgen was not expecting this. The villagers with textiles last long enough. They can torch through the siege. They function as a front line, and it's an absolute wipe in favor of Salami. 13 Lancers, an eco lead that is big now for Evgen, but it won't last long. Triple TC with Song Dynasty, and 13 Lancers now free to run rampant across the map, and Evgen with limited defenses to do anything or say anything against it. I just love the understanding as well. Like, a lot of players would not have done what Salami done here. They would have been like, okay, my eco is small, I've been sacrificing a lot, I need to reboom. You can still reboom with a sacrifice. They're just effective frontline units. You're up against man-at-arms. If you're up against knights, this loses you the game, right? If you're up against like 10 lances, those villagers die. It's bad. But it's man-at-arms that are static, clunky, and immovable. You can flank around them, you can go for the siege, you can slow them down so they can't take out the Nesta Bees. You can draw fire where it doesn't want to be. And now, as a result, you can draw all attention towards Mongol's base. Evgen builds up a few crossbowmen to defend. Notice that Salami doesn't waste his troops here. The reason is he doesn't know if Springals are coming, so he doesn't want to risk getting sniped underneath triple tower. He'll back away. But I think he got the critical info. I think he saw how much gold was left there. Now that another gold vein has been exploited, this is where things get dangerous for Evgen, because I think Salami is going to contest him. He'll check south side. He can even build an outpost on the north side. It's crazy to me that Evgen is moving for the central area of the map when he has limited control on the map now. He finally went for the second TC in the pred temp, but guys, this is like 8 to 9 minutes too late. This needed to be happening the first time he boxed Salami in his base. Because now you don't have map control. You can't guarantee relics gathered. And you also cannot boom your eco as quickly as the Chinese now. Salami, while he hasn't scouted out the gold vein that's going to be exploited in a sec, the reality is that he's fully recovered. Just look at the income. These numbers are now starting to contest. The gold especially is crazy. Remember the eco count as well. Like where he was at to where he is now. They're both going to actually hit 100 around the same time. And then a farm transition is in the future for Salami. That is a point of weakness, but... Oh, will you look at that? Point of weakness resolved. And now with the triple granary, these gathering rates exceed that of the sheep. And you can already see the ramifications of taking so long to finally go for those relics. You're going to be beaten to the punchline all across the place. Lancers drawing attention to the north side. Why do they do this? They do this so that he can pick up the relics on the south side. This looks like this could easily turn into a 4-relic game in favor of Salami. And it never should have been that way. I mean, these should have been removed from the map a long time ago, but Evgen, he got sucked into the whirlpool that was the Salami party. And he came out battered and bruised. Well, you look at that. The amount of things that I'm seeing out of Evgen now that like make logical sense, but they made sense 10 minutes ago. It's kind of bonkers. It shows you what his mindset was. It shows you that he was very much sucked into this end the game by 20 minutes thought process. Because now he's building outposts. Now he's building TC. Now he's going for prayer tent. He thought he could win this game. He totally forgot that he was playing against the Chinese. And Salami... Show some respect, okay? That wall was ambitious. Would have been amazing, but there's 3 towers here. He could have always garrisoned the villages, worst case scenario. Instead, he just handed over 1 relic they'll never get back now. Now the Springwood army. Evgen, he threw away so many siege units that he no longer has this advantage in the siege department. Despite them all coming from a clock tower, there's a clear numerical lead, and it does not belong to the Mongols. And that food situation is getting worrisome to me. Evgen's had the lead for a long time, but he's about to lose it. Same on the eco situation. Now, finally, Salami take the lead as we breach past the 100 point. And Evgen, like, what is the strategy now? You're running out of wood. So if your plan is to play siege, get me out. Get you out. You'll be out. Like, the siege, you don't have surplus wood in reserve to extract to fuel a siege war. Not against the Chinese now. Because this is the awkward issue, right? The Chinese have been more efficient. Look at the woodline situation. He was more efficient with the way he traded siege. He didn't waste crap tons of resources on rams. On top of that, if he ever felt budgeted, he always had supervised. Supervised that fabricated. It created an extra 20% on a limited resource. It means that he has more safe wood in reserve. You as the Mongol do not. Especially the way you fleshed out your base. You're playing towards the south side, and there are small wood lines here that you can exploit in the meantime, but you're now drawing attention down here. Both gold and wood are being extracted in the same area. Salami has 2 choices. He either assaults you now, or he just waits for Imperial. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Salami tries to clock Imperial here. But considering we're seeing a switch into Pass Guard, it just might be a push out now. It's going to be, what, 6 Nesta Bees? Yeah, this could turn messy real fast. Evgen. In for a penny, in for a pound, I guess. If at first you don't succeed, give up, you're a failure. But not this guy. Oh, no. Evgen says once more into the breach. I'm concerned as to whether he'll have anything that he can breach here. Nesta Bees count increasing. Frontline of Pass Guard now emerging. So many man-at-arms, so many crossbows, so many things that can just be peppered down by the fireworks show that Salami wants to put on. And notice that there is no anti-siege whatsoever for Evgen. He's gambling on his ability to gap close with Yam quick enough. However, he doesn't have Yam here. Relic situation, 3 finally gathered up for Evgen. But he waited so long for this. Nesta Bees starting to move forward. They're taking their time. They're tempting me to press the 2 times button of how long they're actually taking. Whoop. Done it. They don't want to fight. I'll make them fight sooner. It's a slow build-up. Treb count now at the 4. He built a siege workshop, didn't he? Yeah, I was wondering where they were coming from, because he wanted the greased axles. The reason he wanted the greased axles is he can't afford to lose any of the siege anymore. And a raid in. A big raid. 15 Lancers coming in from Evgen onto the wood line. Salami out of position to respond to this. He went to Power Sky as well, so doesn't have the best of responses. And it's too late to respond now. This should be a massacre. Straight away on top of him, Techstars will at least minimize capture somewhat, but Salami needs to react to this. So far, the only reaction is for him to dive in, straight on top of the trebuchets. Palace Guard looking to snipe down anything they can get their hands on. And the villagers get their ships out! Okay. I respect him for this. Salami's like, I can just rebuild them. I'm not taking my troops away. I'll fight you. He might want to pull some troops back, though. There we go. Villagers are going to retreat now. Meanwhile, in the center, you can see the push around. Reaction comes out on the southern flank. The Lancers did try to go in for a flank attack, and it was an absolute massacre down here. Crossbows reign supreme, but if he can bait him to the north side, he can take a win. Notice what he's doing here. Salami is pushing towards Evgen's base to force him to fight. And he will fight without anti-siege up against 5 Nesta Bees. Nesta Bees that are now in range. Saturation coming out, pounded into the back line. Crossbows forced to engage. Man-at-arms now stacked up. It's going to be a massacre. It's going to be a rout. Evgen loses the main army in the blink of an eye. And sure, he hit the eco. Sure, he done some damage. But now he needs to rebuild his army fast. Now he needs to get an answer. The problem is these Nesta Bees. The Nesta Bees were always the thing that was not solved. Evgen now being doubled up in military pop cap, soon to be tripled up. A push in. Salami flooding through a bit aggressively here. Needs to move the Nesta Bees in. Needs to start taking down these buildings. In fact, I believe there's been no greased axles. Would definitely get value out of that at this stage. Army to be wiped. Outposts need to be brought down. What is he looking for right now? Salami? What? Okay. He'll finally turn and burn onto the troops. But he needs to take out the Sprilled emplacements. They're going to snipe down the siege at this rate. Just looks like people Gatling gun things down right now. I don't understand, Salami. Why? Okay, this would have made more sense. At first, I thought he was going to dive past them, but this is just negligence right now. This actually feels like BM. The Lancers are still in the back of your base. Show some respect. Oh, wow. Both of them idling 20 eco. Outposts are starting to be dealt with as a counterweight trebuchet does finally come out. 4 Nesta Bees remaining. He genuinely is just BMing at this stage. He's like, oh, look at my Nesta Bees. Be a shame if you didn't have any Springles to counter it. And the anti-kebab alliance has formed in the base of Evgen. No more sheep for you. Outpost down, 4 Nesta Bees remain. Lancers pretty much cleaned up. And Evgen's hope of winning this game cleaned up alongside it. You'll see him now build a proxy base, racks and stables to try and recover. Limited wood once again, though. That's never been a problem for Salami. He always has more wood to work with. Oh, Evgen. All right, Salami wouldn't have been able to react. I'm getting very kind of OCD about this right now, Salami. At what stage is greased axles worthwhile? Give me the real answer here. Because I feel like you can only give me meme answers. I feel like it would have been worthwhile at this stage. Now the Great Wall of China's coming up. And not the landmark, just a wall. A long-ass wall at that. No flank attacks anymore. Evgen. Oh, God, no! He needed the gold, but he will not get it. Yeah, the peasants aren't going to do anything here, dog. You're done. He has no gold anymore. That was the last hope. He was saving this as a safe reserve, but there is no safety anymore. They'll at least say death to taxes, but death to gold for the Mongols here. He now has 25 villages idling. His only move, his only option is to go north into the Chinese territory. But I don't think the step readout's going to get through. Maybe, though, the Lancers on their way up. Walls need to be fast constructed here. Salami brushing the walls up. Taps it with the hammer just in time. And no, Evgen! He doesn't have the torch damage. Get more built than China, I dare you. He just got royally screwed out of this game. The wall is up. Villagers got through. But the only thing they got through to is their own death here. as 10 Lancers will clean them up. The step readout will be useless, and this is donezo. I just don't see a way now. Salami's gone cruise mode. He wants Imperial Age. Evgen can only dream of the gold required. Evgen, it took over 40 minutes for it to finally come out, but he really did snatch defeat from the jaws of victory a long time ago. It was just a slow process to get toward this, but Salami in full cruise mode, full control, and the never-ending wall continues. He's had enough. Evgen says, I don't run this much in real life. I refuse to run this much in a game.